Let's now understand valuations as per the FEMA regulations in cases of इनबाउंड इन्वेस्टमेंट। क्या मतलब है कहने का मतलब ये है कि when the investment is being done in India, obviously the money is flowing to India, and therefore when the money is flowing to India, then when the foreign currency investment is flowing to India, it will need to be valued. And when it has to be valued, there can be two situations. Situation number one, issue of fresh shares by a resident, यानी कि FDI के थ्रू पैसा आ रहा है in one company in India, and this company in India is going to issue shares in favor of this investor which is investing through FDI from outside India. So that is situation number one. Situation number two is when there is a transfer of shares, and the transfer of shares, remember, can be by a resident to a non-resident, and it can be by non-resident to resident, and I'm sure you can understand it very clearly. So when the transfer is by resident to non-resident, that means there is when the transfer is by resident to non-resident, that means there is a flow of foreign currency from outside India to India, because the transfer is being done by a resident to non-resident. So the non-resident is going to get the shares from the resident, and resident in turn is going to get forex from the non-resident. And as I said in the very beginning, whenever any transaction involves any currency other than Indian rupee currency, FEMA will become applicable. So this transaction will need to be valued. Now please understand the logic, and I'm sure if you understand the logic as to why valuation की जरूरत क्या है, इतनी लिबरलाइजेशन की हम बात कर रहे हैं, why to talk about valuation? Let the transfer happen without any valuation. Let the inflow of the FDI happen without any valuation. Why should we increase the work? That is the question that can come to our mind. But let us understand the logic. So now what is happening is, I will come to the issue little later. Before that, let me explain to you issue of transfer of shares. So when a resident is transferring shares to non-resident, why valuation is necessary? Valuation is necessary so as to ensure that the non-resident sends enough money which is worth the share of the company, and that is the reason why the valuation. If valuation is not involved, if the FEMA restrictions are not involved, what can happen? The resident and the non-resident can decide between them, saying what? Saying that the worth of the share is $100. Worth of the share is $100. The resident and the non-resident can have an understanding. Please deposit $50 to my account in Switzerland, and $50 you send to me here in India, and I will give the transfer of shares to you. So what is happening? This $50 which is getting deposited in the resident's Swiss account, it is India's money, India's precious foreign currency, which is getting drained out, and that is not good for India's economy and India's financial system. And that is the reason there is a stipulation of valuation, because when the valuation is done and when it is done properly, then this whole $100 will come to India only and not go and sit outside India. Okay, let's come back to the first situation. Issue of fresh shares by resident. Issue of fresh shares by resident, and that is in case of inbound investment. So how will the valuation be done in case like this?